Some of my favorite questions I get asked all the time as a musician is, what's your real job? What does your wife do, and is she okay with supporting your delinquency? You have kids? All of these questions come to the heart of the matter, which is music as a career is considered to be financial negligence, right? You are making a decision because you love something to effectively put aside financial responsibilities. And I am here to say that I think that that is fundamentally false. I want to give you a few reasons why music as a career may be actually a quite smart financial move, and there's a lot of security and financial incentives that involve music compared to other careers. Now, we're going to start out with a big one, which is you do not require debt to get into music as a career. Is it expensive to be trained in music? The answer is yes, it 100% is. It has a heavy toll of both time and money if you're seeking out expertise education, which you should if you're actually trying to turn this into your career. But the truth is you do not need to go into massive levels of debt. The honest truth, though, with other qualifications for careers that are much more prestigious that people, especially parents, really argue for, such as being a lawyer, being a doctor, even being a nurse, these things require a high degree of schooling. Now, did I go into debt to get my music degree? I 100% did. It was the fashionable thing to do for my generation. But looking back on it, that was really an optional thing. Was it good for me? Yes, it was. College was a great experience and gave me a lot of the tools that I needed. But honestly, it is not necessary even to go to college and to go into debt for sure. And I would personally argue, unless you have a full ride, unless your situation just makes sense, it probably should be just said, do not go into debt if you're going into the arts. Now, that gets me into number 2, which is job security. Being a musician is going to give you significantly greater job security than almost any other profession. Why is that? Well, guess what? I don't care whether the economy is up or down or sideways, people are going to be looking for music teachers, music for their special events, and music to get away. And because of that, that always is going to create a void that you can fill. Now, the real truth of this is you need to be flexible. But if you're flexible and you can do a whole lot of things, man, the job security never ends. Because guess what? Let's say that you lose a couple students. Well, you pick up a gig here or there, you're set. Let's say that it's not wedding season. Well, you just pick up a few more students. You can transcribe. You can do all sorts of incredible things. So as long as you are flexible with your mind, you're set. Now compare that to, say, all my siblings who have become engineers. They are working at a specific place. Their company gets into a little bit of trouble, and they come up and they go, hey, guess what? We don't have money for you anymore. You're fired. Boom, you're out. You got to look for another job and you're in trouble. There is no one job for any musician that would just be like, it's over. You've run out of money. No job security. It's all these little daggers. Honestly, throughout my entire career, I never relied on one relationship for more than, say, like 10 or 15% of my entire income. Here's a third thing that people don't really think about, which is your ability to work extra hours is really entirely dependent on your own work ethic. You can work like a crazy person as a musician. I think the most notable version of this was both during college. I would regularly gig like 5 to 6 nights a week, and then I would also be teaching and I'd also be going to school. But as well, after college, my wife, she's a band director. I literally would do her maternity leave when she was having our first kid, and I would literally leave the house at 6 a.m. and I would work, and then I would go teach until 9, and then occasionally I would gig after that. Literally, no one's gonna be coming and checking and be like, hey, have you done more than 40 hours? No, because it's all separate jobs. And that's the beautiful thing. You can stack all these however you want. And of course that has its downsides, But that is a huge plus to being able to be financially independent as a musician. Let's get into some caveats though. I don't want to just be painting such a rosy picture. You take this video to your parents and go, hey, we should all just quit what we're doing and become a musician. No. There are some caveats. The first is there is a realistically pretty harsh ceiling when it comes to how much you can make as a musician. And this may sound kind of ridiculous, but it is true. It's not a small number. It's actually a pretty nice number, depending on the area you're in. But there is a pretty definitive cutoff compared to other careers. So for example, let's say teaching is your main income. There is a price that you're not going to be able to charge higher than. Now, if you get your doctorate, if you're playing in a prestigious band or orchestra, there's ways to differentiate that are going to allow you to raise your rate quite high and get a lot of students. And let me tell you, you will be making good money, but it's not like you're going to be Mark Zuckerberg hiring an engineer for $100 million AI type money. Same with performing. It's the same thing. There is going to be a fairly definitive ceiling. Now you go, well, but listen to this musician and how much they earn playing for Beyonce or Taylor Swift. Well, that's a one of one. You don't argue careers and professions that way. That's like basically saying, well, my financial strategy is to win the lottery. It just doesn't happen. I mean, it does happen to some people, but you can't count on it. The second one is limited time to work at the highest pay. Here's the thing, when you're a salaried employee, when you're working as an engineer or a lawyer or a doctor, you get the whole week to work at your highest pay. You can. But when you're a musician, your time between the hours of Friday and Sunday are significantly more valuable than any other day of the week. It's just true. And that puts a heavy toll on how much money you actually can make. The third one is you're heavily dependent on networking. Now, this is actually true of every job, but the thing with other jobs is it kind of is the opposite of that job security thing. Remember how we were talking about how you had all these different gigs, so you never have to worry about losing your job compared to your normal 9 to 5? Well, it kind of works the other way. You get that one 9 to 5, you're set. Networking, is it a good idea? Yes, it is. But for music, you live and die by your networking. If you are great at networking, opportunities abound. You're always working. It's lovely. If you are not that great at networking, it's probably not the job for you. So here's my honest conclusion. If you really look at all the variables, it has so much to do with your interests and your personal network to be successful at anything. And I kind of feel like we paint with this wide brush and we go, being a nurse is an objectively better career than insert this for financial stability. And I just feel like we're doing ourselves a disservice, especially when we talk about like even bigger, more prestigious careers like becoming a doctor. It's like, honestly, with the right training and the right coaching, I would bet more on someone being financially set, getting a general music understanding, gigging and teaching, and freelancing, than someone going to school for pre-med, then medical school, then passing their qualifications, and then doing their internships and everything they have to do to become a doctor, residency, and then becoming a doctor. That's crazy. And I just think this conversation needs to happen because so many people point their kids and themselves in the wrong direction because they think of something in their head and it sounds good. Oh, you'll be poor, penniless musician and all that. No, you just have to realize you just have to want to be an entrepreneur. And if you're okay with being an entrepreneur and owning your own business, you can do quite well. Robert Monroe, what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea to become a musician? Do you think it's financially irresponsible? Love to hear what you think. Comment below, like, subscribe. Until next time, stay practicing.